All right, all right, all right. Welcome back, guys, to the latest episode, latest edition, whatever you want to call it, of the Sim Standard Podcast. Myself, SimFBallCritic, along with Smitty, and we're happy to bring another show to you guys. We may or may not have AzureEffect's company. You guys know how that works. You know, he's out there teaching the youth, so his schedule is a little crazy, but hey, that's more important than sitting here talking about some video games. But anyway, guys, let's go ahead and get started with the show, man. A quick heads up or a quick FYI, I guess you would say. A lot of you guys know, I've mentioned before that I work from home. I go into the office once a week. I'm not bragging or anything like that, guys. I'm just giving you my schedule. It has changed. I'm now going into the office on Fridays instead of Monday. So because of that, obviously I have to travel, quite a good distance. I have to commute. So, shows are not really going to go past 10 if we can help it. We want to be in and out, get up out of there. So just want to give you guys that heads up. If it's a special show or something like that and we need to go over, maybe we will. But I just want to give you guys that heads up. All right. Now, outside of that, man, we'll jump right into the topics that we want to talk about tonight. We did get a tweet from 205. You guys know him as Alabama. Wants to come on the show at some point tonight, so we'll be happy to get him in. Anybody else who wants to come on the show for a segment or so, have a question, want to talk to us, want to say, hey, what's up, whatever. The routine, you guys know it. If you don't, here it is. All we need is an email address. You send that to us via Twitter or here in the chat. We'll bring you on the show, let you do your little ditty, and then we'll thank you for being on the show, and we'll discuss whatever it is you want to talk about. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it, man. Tonight's topics, as you can see in the title. Oh, and speaking of that, and I know I speak on behalf of Smitty as well. Again, you guys give us topics to talk about, man. Let us know what you guys want to talk about. Basically, I wait all the way until Thursday. And if I don't hear anything, I dive in and I look around the internet and things like that, and I find some stuff for us to talk about. So that's where the topics come from. But we really would love for you guys to drive the topics because the show is for you guys. So that's what we would hope. But anyway, here we go. First and foremost, guys, we want to talk about NBA 2K. The question that I will pose to you guys, as well as Smitty and myself, will answer: has NBA 2K closed the door on NBA Live? And you guys might be interested in the perspective that I'm going to take in regards to that question. We also want to talk a little bit about what does Madden NFL need to do in order to become a roster update. And I know some of you guys are probably curious as far as what am I talking about with that topic. Just wait and see, and you'll hear what I got to say about that along with Smitty. And then the last thing, Smitty, this is an interesting one here. But hey, it makes for good talking. Trump. So this guy, Donald Trump, he plans on meeting with members of the video game industry to discuss the violence that is shown in some games. So Smitty and I give our thoughts on that, just that in general, as well as whether or not we feel like violence in video games are, contributing to, mass shootings and corrupting the youth, et cetera, et cetera. Me and Smitty, we're of the age, in our 30s. We remember a time when we heard this before. We even heard it about gangster rap. Everybody was going to grow up to be a gangster because they listened to NWA or whoever else. So I'm sure Smitty and I will have some good dialogue on that, and you guys are welcome to join us. All right, so without further ado, I guess we can go ahead and jump into it, Smitty. Let's see what we want to tackle first. Let's tackle this NBA 2K topic, man, because I know people probably trying to figure out what are we referring to there. So the question is, guys, has NBA 2K closed the door on NBA Live? I'll give you my thoughts, and then I'll definitely kick it to Smitty. This is the direction I want to go in. It's very similar to how I feel about Madden and the NFL. This NBA 2K, this eLeague thing, this is huge. This is a huge, huge, significant jump for NBA 2K. And let me explain to you why. Not because of the obvious reasons, that they're going to have this partnership and the fact that, to me, I might be mistaken, Smitty. I'm not as familiar with esports and things like that, but it seems like it might be a first of its kind as far as how it works, with it being someone representing the entire NBA, but it's more so like a league, and these guys will be paid in the league. So it's almost virtually, the way I'm understanding it, is just like being in the NBA, but you're in the NBA eLeague. You know what I'm saying? And you get paid to play, et cetera, et cetera. And shout outs to D-Man. If he gets a chance to see this, Smitty knows who that is. He's getting closer, man, to qualifying or getting up in there, going through the combine and things like that, man. So hopefully, somebody like D-Man that we know, have talked to over the years, via social media, hopefully a guy like that is able to get up in there, man. I'm rooting for him and other guys alike. I know my guy Spade, I don't think he made the cut this time, but hopefully he'll be able to keep pushing and do his thing as well. I would love to see the Rainmaker in there. And as far as Shakedown, I don't know, Smitty, how far Shake is going with it. Haven't followed it as much, but any of those guys like that we know, I wish those guys luck. But anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand. Here's the thing where it relates to NBA Live. I think the door might be closed, man, and I'm going to tell you why. It's not just because of how far 2K is as far as depth, gameplay, even though there are problems in that game. You guys saw some of it in my stream last night, some of you guys who came through. But at the end of the day, I still like the game, man. I like NBA 2K because it has enough depth. It has enough authenticity as far as replicating animation, et cetera, that allows me to look past or stomach some of the problems. There's serious problems. But, it does a good job. They do a great job of replicating basketball and options and settings and modes, et cetera, et cetera. But here's the biggest problem. It's the same thing we say about Madden, the big old, Madden moniker. 2K has become that for the NBA. And this eLeague is only going to make it even bigger. Think about how many people are getting involved with Madden, young kids and things like that, just because of the whole competitive Madden thing. It ain't got nothing to do with Sim and Smitty. Is a lot of these kids are getting drawn into it because they see it on TV. They cut on ESPN or the NFL Network, and there it is, and they, I can play that and make some money. 2K taking it to another level where it's an actual league. That is going to touch so many eyes that I think that a game like NBA Live, still trying to catch up, it could have some adverse effect on it, man. I just feel like NBA Live is going to be the game for some of us hardcore guys, us here in the sim crowd. Not saying that 2K won't be a sim, but understand what I'm trying to say. We can look at NBA Live. I know Smitty is definitely going to be all over this, and NYKia. A couple guys in my stream the other night. A lot of guys, a lot of times they say, man, Sim, you need to play live. You won't have those frustrations. And basically what I'm saying is we can look at NBA Live and we see the positives in the game, but the masses don't see that. And y'all know what happens, man, when something is very popular and something else isn't and is not making money. My fear is, outside of the fact that NBA 2K is head and shoulders above live, across the board, just that publicity, man. I mean, come on, man. I mean, look at the numbers. Look what they're selling. And live won't be able to keep up, in my opinion. One other quick thing before I pass it to Smitty. Smitty, I got to give Smitty a lot of credit and some shout out. He's been very vocal with NBA Live. Some of you guys know Smitty does his live streams. Just did one recently on his Facebook page. He's always giving his feedback in that game. Me and him started this, Smitty, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
We was already trying to give information, when we saw it was coming, and a good start. But y'all understand what I'm saying, man. 2K is so far ahead in terms of the masses. This eLeague is going to take it to the next level. So I don't know, Smitty. That's just my thoughts on it, man. I hope not. I really hope not, guys, because what the last thing we need is one sport, or one game per sport. Because think about this. It could very well end up being the NFL football game, EA Sports. The NBA basketball game, 2K Sports. You want your baseball fix? You better buy your PS4 because now you got to get MLB The Show. It could end up being just like the actual leagues. There's one NBA, MLB, there's one NBA, and there's one NFL. I think that's a very, very, very realistic possibility. The only sports game right now that seems like has a fighting chance is probably PES. Even though let me correct myself. I don't know the numbers. I don't know what PES sells in comparison to FIFA. I think FIFA probably has a bigger name. Then again, I'm not in that market. It's a lot of hardcore soccer guys. My guy at work that I work with, he's into soccer, and he likes PES. He likes them both, but he buys both. So I don't know as far as the numbers there, but just eyeballing it, it seems like those two games are equally matched up in terms of gameplay. I know FIFA gets the edge again with the EA Sports name and some of the licensing, but with the NBA guys, I'm starting to fear that NBA Live, it might suffer. I mean, I know they say they in it for the long haul, but they said that before, didn't they, Smitty? They said that before those other games got canceled. So I don't know. I see somebody asking about whether or not it's delayed or canceled. I haven't heard anything about that. I know nothing about Live 19, what they're working on, if it's delayed, if it's canceled, blah, blah, blah. I will say this, and then Smitty, you take it from here.
Mm-hmm.
If NBA Live is canceled or delayed in any way from Live 19, it's over. Forget it. I mean, if y'all ain't got y'all foot in the ground now, your foundation was supposed to be 18, finally getting back.
Yeah.
So that's just my quick thoughts on it, man. What you think, Smitty, in terms of, the approach as far as the eLeague thing and just in general? Do you think along with that, has 2K started to close the door a little bit on NBA Live?
They closed the door on Live to an extent because we're saying that right now because of the picture, the way the picture looks right now. It's like Live doesn't have a shot, excuse me. 2K with all the microtransactioning issues and all that stuff, people still bought the VC anyway. They still bought the My Team packs anyways, went ahead and still played it up. And I mean, look, you got guys getting geeked up and excited that they're in, the eLeague now. They're getting their emails and stuff like that, the confirmations. And it's not even the final, but still, they're excited for all of that.
Right.
NBA 2K took, much more established title. NBA Live is taking, like, they have to build their game up to a point of that credibility. Can they do it? Yes. See, this is what the difference could come in between PES, in comparison to PES and FIFA. PES and FIFA have licenses on different leagues. FIFA has licenses on certain leagues that if PES had the exact, like, let's say if both games had the exact same licensing, I think that to an extent the sales scale would tip more in favor of PES to an extent. But also you'll have that diehard crowd of people that have been riding with FIFA for so long. Now they're looking forward to what FIFA's going to bring to the table. NBA Live, well, NBA, and on the other hand, it's the NBA. That's it. You see what I'm saying? Like, what else do you have? You have the NBA, you have the WNBA, you got the G League, and then you got, overseas leagues. I mean, unless you're going to go that route, but they don't have to. They have the big dog license which is the NBA. So they're going to make an NBA game just like 2K is going to do. But like we said, Live has a lot of work they got to do to get their game back up to that stature. And that's the main thing that's the message that I press in regards to Live is that, look, 2K has all these legitimate facets in their game. Like that's just the bottom line. They got all these different facets in their game that Live it's going to take them years to build up. That's why when you say the door being shut, I wouldn't necessarily say it's shut, but I would say is you can close it closer. Now, Live, like I see people putting polls up and making vids and saying, oh, it's canceled and all that. Listen, they said they're in it for the long haul. I'm a firm believer they are. Like Sim and I was at EA Play. We've talked with the devs. We were at the hotel party at the W and everything and all that.
Oh, man,
it's like all of that stuff. Yeah, it was awesome time. But
shout outs to Deion Sanders Jr.
Right. Yeah.
My boy.
Yeah.
All right, y'all go ahead, Smitty. We'll leave that for another day.
Right. But the thing is, with Live, when I see all that, I'm like, okay, there's no way. Like, it would be crazy if they made this kind of investment to say, we're only doing this one time and we out. We making this game one time and we out, especially knowing that the game is the way it is. That game right there that came out is not a 1 million+ copy selling game. It just isn't. It just isn't. Especially when you look across the street with 2K. Look, all the problems that it has and everything else, bottom line, it's a smoother game of basketball. I know people talk about 2K, and I just gotta make this point about 2K real quick. I know people sit up and talk about how, oh man, defense is so loose in the game. Man, they ain't playing defense right, and they letting people blow past and all that stuff. If you listen to any of the panels, ESPN, TNT, any of those guys talk, from Gary Payton, Shaq, Barkley, all these guys, if you listen to any of those guys talk, they say back in the day when we were able to play, we were able to put our hands on the guys. We're able to be more physical. It's not like that in this NBA climate. Now you got to basically steer guys in certain directions. You can't just be all up on them like that now. And especially when I hear that kind of stuff coming from Gary Payton, this is a guy, the glove. He was great for, his on-ball defense. And that's the kind of stuff that he points out. That's the stuff that 2K does. Now, that's a point that I was making about Live. Live, they play defense like it's in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like they're, dudes are able to, everybody's able to make you pick up your dribble. I'm like, if people were able to play like that, then it would be a whole different, like dudes would be averaging you'd have guys averaging 3-4 steals a night. If it was like that. And it's not. And that's the thing. That's the big time problem with Live. I say that to make the point. Live is a very mechanical game. It looks for the animations they have, it's too mechanical. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be a lot more smoothed out, amongst other things. I'm not diving all into stuff Live needs to fix. There's plenty of things that need to be fixed, smoothed out, enhanced, blown out, all that. But as far as this whole eLeague perspective, I mean, look, these guys made some investments. They got houses, they got facilities. I looked at some of the interiors of some of these places. It's crazy what they got. Dope. It's crazy how they have that stuff set up. And I'm like, man, these people are playing for this. Man, this is so boy, this is nuts. This is nuts. You know what I'm saying? And look, this is my thing. Can Live get into that mix at some point? Yes. But they won't be able to get into that point anytime soon. Because the thing is, by the time they do, will people be tired?
Mm-hmm.
You see, now think about this. Okay, this is a nice perspective to think of to this extent. Okay, NBA 2K right now would be the only game. Let's say they got they have their eLeague and they go into year 2, year 3, year 4, all that stuff with it, right? It's successful, it grows, expands, all that good stuff. What about seeing another game to get into that space? You see what I'm saying? That's just like if if Disney were to buy up all the DC if they were to buy up, basically, if they bought up the rights for all the DC characters, they already got all the Marvel guys.
Mm-hmm.
So if they get all of the DC characters too, even as good of a studio as they are, people would be like, oh, bet. They got all these movies and all that stuff, and their movies for the most part been on point, man. So that's awesome. But when you see Batman movie, Superman movie, Justice League, whatever movie, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to want somebody else's vision. See, just like how 20th Century did with Deadpool, they made that movie rated R, and look how great that movie was. You saw how Logan was. Look how much of an extreme that movie was compared to how he was in all the X-Men movies, even the other Wolverine movies he did. That's what I'm saying. You don't have that differential. You don't have that opportunity for differential because, oh, no, 2K got it all. I would like to see Live getting that mix because at some point, people are going to say, dang, you know what? Live ain't a bad game, though. And EA do be making money. Why don't they do the same thing? Why don't they launch a league too? Or at least, why don't they get some sponsored? They could have tournaments. They don't have to necessarily have dudes housed up, but why don't they get some sponsored guys and do tournaments? Just like with FIFA. FIFA's got teams sponsoring players. Why not do the same thing with Live? And I'm saying it has to gain that level of prestige in order for that to happen, though. That has to happen first and foremost. So we're talking more of a what if kind of deal, but that's all I'm saying. It's just it would be awesome to see Live. Like I said, the door is closing, but at the same time, Live can kind of wedge that doorstop in there. You know what I'm saying? But it all depends upon what they do at Live 19. If the game really does show that progression and it's growing and expanding more and more, then they got a fighting chance because they're all working off of the same licenses.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like Live only can use the G League and that's it. And they got to some way somehow make a great NBA game, a G League game versus 2K, who's got the NBA license and they're gonna balloon in sales because of it. No, they have the same thing. So we'll see what they do. But I'll throw it back to you, man.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, man. I mean, it's like Smitty said, and we're realists. We're realists about the situation, and what we mean by that, guys, is, I mean, we've seen the writing on the wall for all of this stuff. We've been telling y'all, we told y'all before, don't expect another NFL game. It'll be a surprise to me at this point. Because I think other companies, the 2Ks of the world, the Sonys, all of them know what time it is. I told you guys, and Smitty remembers this. Well, I guess we could say who it was. I mean, it's not like, it wasn't that much that he can't say now. This was like 3 years ago. But me and Smitty one time, when we went to not EA Play, we went to E3 for the first time. And we were in there, we were talking to, what's his name from MLB The Show? Ramon.
Oh, Ramon. Yeah, Russell.
And he basically was saying, yo, that license, dog. He was saying how, literally, it cost, bro. It cost. And he was basically saying at that point, reading between the lines, he was kind of saying, look, man, we got this on lock. It's almost like everybody recognizes that Madden is the face of NFL football, regardless of how the license was acquired, because people will always, they daily, Smitty, somebody tells me, man, if EA wouldn't have, undercut 2K and that. I'm like, dog, y'all wrong. EA can't do anything without the NFL. Trust and believe. Now, if you want to blame EA for putting the money up, why? Wouldn't you do that? Wouldn't you do that if it was between you and somebody else? I mean, I'm just saying. You're going to do what you can do to kill, basically kill everybody else on the block. That's how it goes. If you were the only, if you were McDonald's and then Burger King is next door, and whoever controls all the beef says, listen, we're gonna let one of y'all be the only ones to make burgers. McDonald's gonna put that bread up. It's just that simple. Why wouldn't you? So I don't see why people, from a business standpoint, you can blame EA for being in that position, which again, rumor has it that 2K actually at the time offered more money. And the NFL decided to go with EA. That's the rumor. But regardless of the fact, what we do know, which is probably more than a rumor, is that 2K messed themselves up when they cut the price of that game. The NFL, y'all know how greedy they are for their dollar. They wasn't happy about that $19.99, and they're like, no. This ain't going to happen again. And EA happened to be the beneficiary of acquiring the license at that time. But again, to my knowledge, the license is not completely exclusive right now. What I heard in the last year or two is that anybody could jump in there now if they wanted to. But it's that money factor, man. And again, Madden is the face of NFL video football game. I mean, that's it. Championship League and all this, like NYKia said. Now they extended out to all 32 teams. And come on, man, they in the bed so deep right now. It just is what it is. It's going to be hard for I don't care how good the game is, y'all. Think about that. I'm not talking about quality of game, because all of us here would play any game that comes out. I'm talking about the masses. Think about all the people out there that think Madden is the truth. Now let's flip it back to 2K. How many people do y'all see on a daily? 2K is the best game since sliced bread. It can't do no wrong. Can't do no wrong. A lot of us here in the chat, here on the show, we point out the problems that 2K has. But do the masses? No. That 8, 9, 10 million copies they sell. So I think NBA Live is in serious trouble, man. It's because, and like Smitty said, see, I didn't even see the crib stuff. I didn't know nothing about that. So I don't know all the details. I've been slipping on my journalistic work, and I haven't checked out all of the details of 2K, league in the eLeague thing. But it seems like this thing is about to take off. And let me tell y'all something else, Smitty. I know you already up on this. Expect Madden to start doing some different things as well from a competitive standpoint. If 2K thing takes off, you can expect EA to jump up in there too and be like, okay, we got to compete with these guys a little bit better, and you will see some changes even in the Madden front. But I don't know, man. It's a tough one. To tell me that we could get to a point where it's just one basketball game again, I'm not trying to hear that. We've stomached the fact that there's only one football game for long enough. But I think it's going down that road, man. Just my thoughts. And Smitty had to step out for a minute, man. So I'll give you guys the opportunity now. Let me look through the chat. If any of you guys wanted to come on, I know 205. I don't see you in the chat. But this would be a great time to come on in, man, if you wanted to do that tonight, which I know you expressed that on Twitter earlier. I don't see you currently here, but yeah, man, that's just my thoughts, guys, on the NBA Live front. Trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to hit on that before. One of you guys, Hunter Iggy, said, what about NBA Live 20th, with the Frostbite engine? I'm guessing you're asking, would it take 2 years? I don't know about that. That's an interesting point as well. I mean, Madden got Frostbite within a cycle. I would assume that NBA Live would be able to do the same as well as an NHL. I don't know what's going on with those games. If we listen to what Patrick Sutherland had to say that, when we heard him say that Madden would be debuting, this was last year, Madden 18 will debut on Frostbite, and the plan was to get all of their games running on one accord, on one engine, everyone being able to intersect, and basically share technology, et cetera, et cetera. My gut feeling would lend me to believe that maybe they're working on that. Maybe 19 will debut on Frostbite, both live and NHL, or one of the two. I don't know. The measuring stick at first, guys, was FIFA. We all assumed that, well, maybe FIFA is the best game to make the transition first because it was in the best position as far as, quality of game, what it brought to the table, and all of that. But come to find out, Madden gets it next. And Madden is not on the same level as an NHL as far as complete package, smoothness, and crispy gameplay. So I don't know. I don't know what the qualifications would be. I guess we can share this now. When Smitty and I went down over a year and a half ago to talk about NBA Live coming out, at that time, we were told that it wasn't going to be on Frostbite for 18. And we were blown away. We were a little shocked by that because we thought maybe that's the reason why they were taking so long. We don't know the plans for 19. I have no idea. I promise you I have no idea about that as far as Frostbite, but just my gut feeling. I mean, again, seeing Madden do it within a cycle, it would seem like the NBA Live could also do that, could also make the same jump. But only thing I would caution you guys with that is now we got Madden 18 to look at as a reference point. 18 really wasn't much. Getting over the Frostbite and introducing Long Shot took a huge hit, to Madden as a quality product. So I don't know how I feel about that, man, but that's about all I could actually say in regards to that information. Let me see what some of you guys are saying here in the chat, man. I want to wait till Smitty gets back before I dive into the next topic. Old School Gaming says, but Live is a better game. Gameplay is for sure. And that's the thing. Live does have some great things that it has under the hood. And we've been saying that for a couple years, but Live 18 does have, foundation-wise, it has some stuff. It really does. My only fear, again, man, is the support. Look how quickly that game got dropped down to, what is it? Somebody told me, I think it's like $5 or something now. That's not a good look, man. Regardless of how good the game could be, think about it. Football fans, we all say that about 2K8. Now, it's not a fair comparison because there's no license per se with 2K8. But can we not still say there were certain elements of that game that I wish we saw right now? The quarterback rollouts, quarterback movement, quarterback differentiation as far as animation, things like that. I still think 2K8 has the edge on Madden in that area. Some of the route running seemed crispier. I won't say the player movement is better, though. I've seen a lot of people say that, and I beg to differ. Player movement wasn't great in 2K8. It still had that turnstile running, if you will. But some of the animations played out very good. But yeah, my point is, it was a great game, but didn't get the support. They didn't make it again. So I have a feeling that could happen to Live. What else did you say here? You going to EAA Play this year? I'm glad you brought that up, Cal Golden 13. I appreciate you for saying that because and I got Smitty back here now, but I'll address that really quick, and then we'll jump into the next topic. I don't know. As it stands right now, I will be going to Mexico on vacation with my wife and my cousin and his wife, and then one of his co-workers and his lady. We're going to be going to Mexico from the 4th through the 8th. We fly back, I believe, on the 9th. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to preference it as if I'm not going to be there. I'm really hurting by that. I had a feeling this would happen, that it would fall on the same week. However, there is a possibility, guys, that I will tough it out, make some arrangements, and I might be flying from Mexico to LA to go to EA Play. So we'll see. But as it stands now, let's just assume that I may not be going this year. But I'm going to try to make it happen. If I can make it happen, I will. You know, we got to check on some, you know, behind the scene things to see. That's really going to dictate whether or not I do it or not. But as it stands now, we'll be going to Mexico unless something happens and somebody has to cancel the trip or what have you. Or second, you know, and what I hope for is I will still go to Mexico. And then on the 9th, the day we come back, I fly right out to LA, which is doable because that's only about a 2-hour flight. I checked on that. So, you know, at the very worst, if I go, I'll get there the day it starts instead of, you know, Smitty knows this. Usually we're there a little bit early, especially, you know, when you travel with EA, we usually there a day or so before that. So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully I get a chance to go. Let's see what else y'all got really quick, man. Then me and Smitty can jump into the next thing. Let's see if there's anything else I want to dive into real quick. You know what, Smitty? Let's talk about this really quick.
Yeah.
Lucky W. I'm gonna just say Lucky. Hopefully we're saying that correctly. He says Madden players have no emotion. I want to chime on that really quick, Smitty, and then get your take. I want to know exactly how do you define that? And the reason why I'm asking that is because are we referring to during gameplay, post gameplay, or before gameplay? Because in my opinion, Smitty, where Madden lacks, I want to see, I know this is reaching, but hey, you showed it to me, so I expect it. I want to see that trailer. When RG3 comes up to the line, I want to see that. Comes up, he's surveying the field, pointing stuff out. 50-50, such and such and such. Red Eddie, you know, I want to see that. I want to see that signaling, you know, yeah, one-on-one cup. I want to see what we saw in that trailer. That's the type of emotion I want to see on field pre-snap. Post-snap, I won't necessarily say there's not any emotion because if you really dive into the replays like we do, their facial expressions change and everything, even on sacks. You'll see a quarterback when he's going down, he does the grimace and his eyes open wide, mouth opens wide. All of that happens in Madden. You see guys looking around. You see guys bracing for contact. So there's some emotion. There is also emotion post-snap. You see guys react to the play. Now, I want to see more of that. I want to see more personality play out. But I don't know if I can agree with the blanket statement saying there's no emotion. You know, if you can, man, in the chat, if you can define that a little further, what exactly are you pointing to it? For me, it would be pre-snap stuff. I want to see more adjustments. I want to see. We watch football every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday, guys. How many times have you seen certain defenders, your Luke Kuechly's of the world, even Ryan Shazier, God bless him, when he was playing? You know, last minute, he telling dudes back out of this, back out of that. We don't see none of that. You know, you see that that generic, like, you know, step to the line, but it's really just an animation. He's not reacting to what's really happening. I want to see that. Even when the computer cheats, y'all been in this scenario with all Madden. You know, when you call your audible, then all of a sudden the defense adjusts. If you're gonna do that, can you at least give us an animation to where the cornerback is like, oh, okay, I see what this is. I'm gonna creep up, or, you know, at least make me believe it. I want to see more of that, and, you know, add some more emotion post play. But outside of that, I think there is emotion. They just need to expand in those areas. What's your thoughts on that, Smitty?
Yeah, they definitely need to have more reaction. Yeah. And the thing is, it needs to be, like you said, pre-snap, post-snap. It also needs to be tied into what's going on.
Yes.
You know, during play, post-play. See, when you play, perfect examples, you play FIFA. FIFA has it systematically in their game. If you miss out on goal opportunities, potential penalties, things like that, the emotional impact will affect your players. It's not just an animated reaction where you're like, oh man. It's like it's an emotional reaction, but it also can have a negative effect. That was a systematic thing they added in their game. Pez, another one. They got the facial reactions, the animated reactions they got in that game. Crazy. You know what I'm saying? Dudes react, goals, penalties, all that stuff and everything. And I mean, you can even watch. I mean, I know you look at the game. I know we look at the game like when they make a goal and you see how they react after the fact. But I'm saying that from me playing it, you know, now I can't speak on 2018, but prior to that, you see players react all throughout as they play, as they try to make moves, as they try to do all kinds of things. You see the facial reactions. 2K, they're working on theirs. They're doing a better job. Okay, they're doing a better job at giving you those facial reactions and stuff like that. But see, that's the whole thing about it. We need to see that facial reaction up front. What's going on in the game? What's happening during? Is this a moment where they're able to capitalize on it? Like the moment. You see what I'm saying? And once again, going into the EA wheelhouse, look at UFC. You know what I mean? Look at UFC. When players, like, for example, when fighters are exhausted, when they're exhausted, it shows on their face. Breathing heavy.
Yeah.
Oh man, like you see how they feel. If a guy is up and he's doing this thing, he may have a cut on his cheek and all that stuff, but he's upbeat. He's like, all right, okay, I got this. You know, like we good right now.
UFC, man.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's like those emotions and reactions are all there. Madden, yeah, there's like, yeah, it's cool to do the captures and get the facial scans and all that stuff like they're doing at the combine right now. They're getting dudes, the rooks and stuff. They're getting they're getting their scans done, which, like I said, that's cool, but I want to see that stuff on the field, just like you said, RG3 in the trailer. They said it was actual gameplay. And then they went ahead and did, all that stuff. Is he on a hot streak right now? That's where dynamic player performance will come in again. Once again, need that in the game. But these are the kind of things. What kind of personality do they have? Are they laid back? Are they balanced? Are they very, emotional? Like, are they excited? You know what I mean? Like, you need to have those types and it'll reflect accordingly. Like, are they like a Phillip Rivers kind of quarterback? Of guy that'll get up in your face and everything. Oh, they talk smack, but then you'll throw that ball anyway. You'll throw the ball in the face of contact and you celebrating and you jumping all around the field and all that. Like, you will be amped up. Or are you guys that are more conservative, more conservative quarterback like Matt Stafford? He's not a guy he doesn't get all jacked up in height, except if it's a touchdown or something like that. You get excited off of that. Or a guy that's more calculating. He just does his thing all over the field and everything, makes his adjustments and such, i.e. Peyton Manning. Need to see that. And like what Sim said as well, we need to see more animations along the line, dude, like from quarterback perspective. When it comes to them calling audibles and adjustments, have guys call signals differently and things like that. Like their movements be different. It was something done, what version of it? I can't recall which 2K it was, but that's what they did, though. It was something, you would see guys give different signals, or you would see them walk up to a particular part of the line and say what their audible adjustment is or whatever. Stuff like that. Like, we need to have different, we need to have a lot more animations for all those different instances. And I'm saying that because at this point in time now, you got to have that. At this point in time now, this is something that should be in the game. These are minor things. We're not saying prioritize this, get gameplay, get your core stuff first. But in addition to that, this is stuff to just throw on the surface. You know what I'm saying? As an addition to to add more personality. So when people see this stuff outside, outside of the like they see, oh snap, look at that minor detail. Because these are things that we bring up all the time when we talk about 2K and other games. Man, look at the attention to detail. Look at the attention to this, the attention to that. Man, it'd be sweet if that was in Madden. Or man, that should already be in Madden. Like, so these are things that need to be there. So
yeah, man, and we got to give a round of applause to NY Kia. Hope you guys can hear that.
Yeah, I hear it.
Let's do it one more time.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. Let me tell you what I'm doing here, just so I'll give y'all a quick FYI. Now, the reason why I'm giving NY Kia the round of applause, I'm using the stream deck here, but I'm having difficulty with it, and I'll give you guys that aside here in a moment. But he says, you know how I know UFC was a good game? He said the first day, people were complaining that it was too hard. It's the same thing Smitty said. And that is supposed to be difficult. These games are not easy. Football is not easy. Baseball is not easy. If you want to compete on an elite level, you got to know what you're doing. I'm supposed to play FIFA online and get smacked by a guy that know what he's doing, because I don't know what I'm doing. That is just like the real world. Imagine me tomorrow going up to Pittsburgh and I'm going to do this open tryout. Man, I'd probably get ran off that field. They'd be like, dude, get up out of here. You're way past your time, bro. And that's what's supposed to happen. It's supposed to be difficult if we're replicating the real world. Now, as an aside, guys, let me tell y'all what's going on here. Maybe some of you guys can help out. So I would love to give you guys a better presentation with Sim Standard Radio. We want to grow, we want to expand, we want to be able to have, more visuals and things like that. But here's where I run into trouble, guys. And shout outs to Godspeed. We got him on. We're going to bring him in here in just a moment. Here's where I run into trouble. Smitty and I, as you guys know, we use Google Hangout, right? Now, the problem with Google Hangouts is it's not very feature friendly. I can't really do a lot of stuff. I can't necessarily control the muting and things like that, blah, blah, blah. So what I definitely would like to be able to do is I would love to be able to use OBS. Now, for whatever reason, and Smitty has tried to help me with this, when I do Terrible Tale Tuesday, when you guys see me do that show and it's just me, I can use OBS just fine. No problems. For whatever reason, when I try to capture the window of Google Hangout and funnel it through OBS so me and Smitty can still appear to you guys this way, but in in an OBS format, we have a different background, et cetera, it doesn't work. It doesn't sync. It's very slow. I don't know what else to do. I'm using a laptop. I'm using a late 2012 MacBook. It's more than powerful enough. I don't know. I've tried hardwiring. Doesn't work. So if any of you guys have used OBS or any other software to stream on a Mac, please holler at me. And so we can, we want to do some different things. We're tired of the same backgrounds. And, I can't even use my stream deck. Like I got to finagle the sound and stuff because I can't funnel it through the stream. So if any of you guys got any thoughts on that, any tips, please let me know. And again, I'm on a MacBook, 2012 late MacBook, using Operation OS High Sierra. And the problem is when I try to capture the window in OBS, capture the Google Hangout here like we are, don't go live, but just capture the window and funnel it through OBS. It doesn't seem to sync up the way I would like it to. So there you have it. But anyway, guys, let's get back to the show here. Go ahead, Smitty. You had something?
I want to say real quick. Yeah. First, few shout outs that you bring up MLB The Show. Shout out to Dougie, aka Good Game Brothers. Shout out to QJB as well. Those guys, once again, animated batting stances, swings, all that stuff.
Forget them. No, I'm yeah, boys, man. Shout outs to them.
Shout out to those cats, man, in MLB The Show, putting animations in. You know what's so funny is that they'll be able to point out in the game. It's funny, you saw it was like a minute-long video of Ramon Russell, and he was sitting there with some baseball players, and he was going through the different home run celebrations and stuff like that, just in general. And the funny thing is he goes through them, and some of them was some of the stuff that both Dougie and Q had captured. And here he is just going through the list, showing the animations off. That's the stuff that we're talking about. That adds detail, character, and some flair to the game. You know what I'm saying? So that's huge right there. And also one other thing here real quick as well. You know what? LeBron James is a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what James Harden did, now that was Wesley Johnson got absolutely murdered. Okay, that was murder. That was first degree.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now, man. I might have got kicked out the NBA after that. I'm cool with getting crossed. Listen, we all been on the playground. I'm cool with that, but bruh, we on national television and you stop and stare at me like that. I'm getting kicked out that game. So people can say, yo, he got crossed up, but yo, it's two pieces. Me. No way James Harden walks. No way. I would have had to get thrown out that game just for my dignity, man. Good Lord. I mean, looked at him for like a whole 2-3 seconds, Smitty.
Yeah.
Wow. Disrespectful.
But then I'm looking here just tonight. Philly, and against your Sixers. LeBron took the ball behind the back through Tristan Thompson's leg as he's setting the screen to go past MD, and then he took the contact on the layup and made it. Yo, I don't know if that was his intent to go through the leg like that, but I mean, if y'all see it, if y'all haven't already saw it, my goodness, LeBron James is a bad man. But yeah, that cross up right there, that Harden, I will say that this too. I got to give credit to NBA Live on this. That fall right there, spot on with like what they got in their game.
They got it.
They got that. And Harden also did that to somebody else too earlier this season too. Made them fall off the step back, and they slipped and fell and everything. So it's like, yo, okay. So gotta give him props.
While we on that, and Godspeed, we gonna get you here in just a second.
All right. So
James Harden should have been Uncle Drew, man. Now, let me tell y'all why. James Harden is that's that dude, man. He's so slow but so fast at the same time. I don't understand it.
Calculated.
James Harden is so like he looked like a dude you think, oh, he ain't gonna be that nice, and get into the ISO with him. He's gonna embarrass. Like the dude is not even like in motion. He's not super fast, but he got that deceptive quickness. That to me would have been perfect as being this old. He got the old man game, so that's why I'm saying relating it to Uncle Drew or whatever. But and shouts out to Pete for the donation, man. Yes. Appreciate that a whole lot. Definitely appreciate the love there. But yeah, man, let's get Godspeed in here, man. Whatever we've talked about so far, or whatever you want to talk about, floor is yours, brother. And welcome to the show, man.
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm just trying to see where y'all. I'm trying to pick up. Last time I went on a tangent, and, I didn't really know exactly where everybody was going with everything, but I kind of more wanted to present some of my positions last time. I did talk to you yesterday about the whole conspiracy going on with the DDA thing and all that.
Oh, yeah.
At some point today, I would like to at least have the discussion of, is it possible, or, are we reaching? What is facts and what is conspiracy or what is rumor?
Let's do it, man. Go ahead.
Is it okay moving forward? Is it an okay thing? Is it just badly implemented? But that's a whole nother thing. Though, go ahead where y'all was at. I jump in and chime in with y'all.
No, man. Hey, you know how we say every week. We love you guys to drive the topics, because that's why I always, when I tweeted out, I said tentative. It can change right on the fly. That's what we do here with the live show. So go ahead and kick that off, man. Let's talk about that.
Well, let's just talk about DDA. As just the whole scope of it, right? So as it being implemented to, basically have a way of using some kind of artificial intelligence to dynamically change the game on the fly, that's taking the game kind of out of your hands and what you're actually trying to present on the field and how that's replicated. Is that okay in gaming, considering what we're trying to do is what we say sim, right? We're trying to get more, make it as close to real life sports as it could possibly be. So in real life sports, when you compete, it really is just physics for physics, style for style, play calling for play calling, right? That's not what we're getting out of a dynamic adjustment happening with like a third party experience. So when the computer kind of takes over the whole, training wheel aspect of it in order to balance out the two differences of styles or even skill levels, so I mean, how y'all feel about that? Do y'all think it's even a real thing? And have you ever experienced it? Because I know I have. Can I say that's what it is, or that's what they would call it? Because they, as far as I can see through my research, is that there's a couple of employees that have said that they don't use that, at least under that term. So I don't know if they say that, if they're saying they don't use the DDA per se as the way we title it, like you said, the acronym basically, or are they titling it something else within the company? I think in our hearts, when we play, we know something else is happening on that field besides what we're trying to make happen in that field. So, how y'all feel about that? And y'all think it's okay to keep it in there moving forward?
What you think, Smitty?
Well, I mean, from like that online head-to-head aspect, I don't think that should be in the game if that is the case.
Right.
There honestly should be lobbies. Like, I mean, I just feel that it should just be a lobby for, different styles of play. Like different styles of play, different difficulty lobbies. So it's like, regardless of what lobby you want to run in, you're in a fit, you're going up against somebody that wants to play on a difficulty level you're on, or have a system, have like a fair play kind of system where it's balanced out based off of the work you've done, how many games you played, and how you go about playing them. If you play cheesy, play with cheesers. If you don't want to be labeled as such, then increase, change your grade. You know what I mean? Like by the way you play, improve your play style. So in that way, you're not graded. You're not lobbed into that bad crowd. But I mean, like I said, if that's the system that's being used, I'm not with that.
Right.
I'm only with that. I'm only with like, as far as like having an AI kind of system in the game, I'm only with that with, like I've said before, doing an A system kind of deal in the game, and just do that with your on field gameplay. But as far as matchmaking, nah, it should just be, like I said, difficulty. You could do a difficulty or have both. It could be both, combination of what difficulty level you play in, but then also grade. What kind of grade do you, the individual user, what kind of grade do you have as far as your playing history online head-to-head in games? Is it good? Is it bad? Disconnects, all that good stuff that you have. Like all that. I should be able to look up your player profile and see what you do when you play. Not only just simple letter grades, but like a profile, how you play. Like what 2K had with the VIP. You know what I mean? Like I could look at your report card and see what you're doing. See how you play. Not just your style of play, but just how you are as a player. Like I have something to look into and say, do I want to take on this guy or not? And I could decide to decline or accept the match if I want to. So
almost like taking a boxing match or a UFC fight. You could choose your opponent in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Like he's in my class, he's in my division, but
right. Is that a good style for me? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm cool with that. Make it more sophisticated, not internally cheat and do some stuff like that. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel, man. Is I don't like cheats, and I understand, so to speak, why they're built, because how do you make a computer replicate a human? But I mean, technology is expanding. It's got to be a better way. Matter of fact, Smitty, and all of you guys listening and watching, we were there when they implemented the what did they call it at the time, man? What was it? Real AI? Remember when they taught the running backs?
Oh yeah.
It's right there. Basically, they had, and we haven't heard much from this in the last 2 or 3 cycles. But what they were doing is they were teaching the running backs how to perform like humans, when to do the certain move, why do the certain move. They started implementing it as well with quarterbacks, and it seems like somewhere along the way, maybe in 17 or 18, quarterbacks don't necessarily seem to do it as much anymore. So to get back to the point, I'm cool with doing that. There needs to be a way to replicate strategy, and that should be the difficulty level, because we all know what happens when you get on All Madden. All Madden will, unless you use sliders, which I have a pretty good experience with some sliders, but on default, your pass rush ain't getting there. Your quarterback is going to be way more inaccurate. And a lot of times, it's like my man here just said, it's times where you could probably take the lead and then you airmail it. And it's like, come on, what was that? And I mean, this didn't happen at any other point during the game. That kind of stuff, man, they got to get rid of that, because it says it in the description. Designed to beat you at all costs. Like, nah, it should be strategy based. All Madden should be, you better bring your Bill Belichick hat if you want to win, because he's going to outcoach you. He's going to, this particular setting is going to find the weakest matchup. They're going to pick on the middle of the field, i.e. the Pittsburgh Steelers against Gronkowski. They're going to do that because they know the personnel and they know your weakness. They know you blitz from the outside. They know you can't get any blitz up the middle. That kind of stuff should be all Madden. Just imagine that game. And then all of us that think we know football, even the hardcore football heads, which, I'll say guys like NY Kia, your 757s of the world, DSK, then, I mean, you literally challenging your knowledge, because now you could take your actual knowledge of football, apply that to your personnel, and win or lose based on, what you decide to do. That would be dope. But having it to where they're just implementing things and like you said, man, things changing on the fly,
right?
Wanting me to do stuff. Nah, man, that can't be. And I think it does exist, because how else do you
know it
in All Madden? It does. It has to. 2K got a little bit of that too now.
No, but see, that's the thing. You know, that's why I want to talk about it. You know, do we really want to sit there and try to isolate Madden as the only game that does it? Because that's not true. It don't even just happen in sports. It happens across the board. In a lot of games, you kind of get that experience, especially online, because remember, the last time that I talked to you last week, I was talking about how do you develop a game and have so many people compete and still make profit out of people getting their doors blown off by guys who have more football knowledge or have been playing the game for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, I think what it is I think as far as like what Smitty was suggesting, styles may not be, I don't know how that will work out, because you can miss, because you'd have people complaining about, oh, well, I chose this style of guy to go against, and that guy may break that style. He may actually play different in that game. And then people will complain, well, you said his style was like this, and I play this guy, and he plays totally different. So I'm not saying that's a bad idea. Maybe, the kind of dynamics, the way they, store this data. I don't know if that data can be changed, or, like if you're a head coach, you have information coming from all works of life, from your staff, from players on the field, information coming in. Okay, coach, he's doing this. He's lining up this way. Or you got so much information coming out. That can be dynamic, right? Maybe if he's changing the way he plays in the game, you'll get information like listen, this is what he's been running, and this is the pace he's been running it at. So it's something to look forward to. And that'll teach people a lot more about the game. But that's the question. Are people really learning football anymore? Are we really learning that? Because we can compare it to FIFA. We can compare it to all those games. But see, those games suffer from the same problem, but you can actually adjust outside. That's why I told you to play NBA Live yesterday. It's not that NBA Live is better than 2K in a plethora of things. The 2K is killing any sports game in a lot of ways, and so is MLB The Show. But when you're talking about sheer physics, right, and you're talking about the ability to set the game to play realistic without the cheating, you can do that. You can actually set it to be real basketball. I wish I actually did a YouTube channel. I don't really got a lot of time for that, but I wish I did, because I could show some of the ways that I do it, or suggest some ways that people can at least just go in there and look. You don't got to love it. You ain't got to buy it. I'm just saying, look at it. Like, don't miss out on that and sit there and complain about 2K when there is a basketball title out there that's going to provide that experience. So I guess, okay, we all agree that it's something going on. We don't got to call it anything. Something's happening. But you know, it's not so much of is it a bad thing, is how it's implemented. So moving forward, the whole DDA conversation moving into the next EA play and whatever happens, I think that discussion needs to be a little more broad across the board. Is yeah, let's find a way to find, you know, to make sure people can find that right match, but how? You know, what are you willing to sacrifice for that? Because some people got to sacrifice some L's, man. Everybody can't win. You know, sometimes you got to lose. You know, right. And I think, you know, in a real way, right? I don't mind losing. Yeah, I want to lose if I ain't good at something. That's how you're gonna get good. But right. I don't want to lose if I'm better than you. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to lose like that. I don't want to use 7 plays, you know, like I know I can do. I've done it. You know, I've played guys like that, and that ain't fun because that ain't football. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that EA is in the right realm of that. And I guess that's why I was talking about the big wigs also last time. You know, are we gonna really start talking about these guys? You know, how much football knowledge do they have? You know, I mean, who are we talking to anymore? We talking to ourselves. We all have our differences of opinion. We all have things we agree on, but we definitely agree on that we don't feel like we're really in full control of our own experiences. And if you're paying money for this, whether it's MUT or the title itself, that raises some questions, some very serious financial questions. You don't have to buy it, but you are investing in something that they're selling you, and they ain't talking about that. So we got to hold them accountable if you're going to spend money on that product. We built it, right?
Man, that's absolutely true, because it's funny, man, because Smitty, I'm sure, will agree with this. The football acumen in that building it's retarded. I mean, but the problem is, Madden 19 really is going to set the stage for a lot, because guys like A-Dub has been trying to implement real coverage rules and leveraging and backpedaling and all of this stuff for a very long time, which I know this is what he's continuing to push. I'm hoping it shows up in 19. But the reason why I say that is I think even with those little things that they got underneath the hood, if the game functions the way it's supposed to, even if, let's say, I figure out, okay, here come the cheat, here they come, they're going to try to make me, and I put my guy in the right position, he's supposed to make the play, or at least attempt it. So if they can at least get the game to respect what it is I'm doing. If I'm calling cover 3 against a certain concept, let my guys get the depth. Let them turn it into man. If, you know, if the number 1 goes vertical, all of that stuff, it needs to be there. You know, because it's like the play I showed on the channel a while back, where I'm in 3-man deep, 3 deep, man across the board. Cam Sutton has nobody on his side, and he's just standing there chopping, doing the march, watching the quarterback. What are you doing? Right. I mean, there's nobody. There was no receiver on his side. In the real world, this guy's either going to drop and help out with coverage somewhere, or he's going to attack the quarterback because he knows there's no threat in his area. It's man coverage. That kind of stuff makes you think, yeah, something's going on right there.
Oh, yeah.
There's something going on.
And it's not isolated to online, you know?
Exactly.
That's the thing.
See, the thing is that what needs to happen, what Madden needs to do is they need to put the challenging real-world elements in the game. Just like, for example, like Kia is saying here, A-Dub posted on Twitter as well. He was at a coaching clinic this week for press quarters. You implement these elements the right way, there needs to be information that explains it in game, like that tells you what this zone does, what this adjustment does in game on the disc, like flat out, just like 2K18. I'm glad they did what they did, because see, you know, I'm pretty sure they received a lot of complaints from people saying, what's the deal with these adjustments? What does that mean? What does this do? Everybody's not going to go necessarily to YouTube and watch a Sam fan breakdown. Everybody's not going to sit through a Czar video, as informative as it is. They're not going to sit there and watch his videos like that. They're not going to go back and watch all that stuff all the time. But if you have it diagrammed, this is what this means. This is what that means. This is what it means if you leave it at default. and showcase the pluses and minuses and the in-betweens of it. If you do that kind of stuff up front, that's going to help. But like I said, it's got to function properly. But the main thing is, like I said, you put those elements in the game and you show it. You don't have to necessarily put them on a field and show it where they got to go into, but it has to be in a menu, like what these adjustments are and what they mean. So then I could just go to it. If you want to learn football fundamentals, here's the book on it. This is what it means in text. You want to practice it? Okay, cool. Go over here. Like, make the experience, show it. So they could literally see that stuff happen. Because when people complain about, oh, this is too tough and I can't do it, just like what my man's is saying here, that's how the game ends up getting spayed and neutered. Because they want to be able to win. What's the easiest way I can win? How can I do it as quick as possible? Oh, I saw this ebook tip today. I want to apply it right now. It shouldn't be that simple. There should be football concepts that you have to understand, because the way the game runs. See, the way the game runs right now, it's been running the same way it's been for like the better part of 15 years. So people are like, it's a certain way how the game moves, reacts, functions at the core that everybody's used to. So when they even try to change it, people can't handle that. But it has to go to a point where you got to say, hey, guys, this is football. You want the football stuff? Here's the football information. You want to learn and understand it? Boom, it's all right here. So when you play the game on the field and you getting shellacked, man, this ain't right. No, it's right. You just weren't used to this. But I got you covered. Go over here. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is what information. Yeah, like, look at this information.
Practice.
You want to try it out? Go to practice field.
Actually about practice.
Yeah, like,
not a game.
Right. But that's what's got to happen, though. It has to be in there. Just like when we bring up the UFC points. People mark the game down because it's legitimate MMA. It's oh man, I can't, man. How come he didn't throw a high kick in this situation? Well, what were you doing? What kind of position was your fighter in? Well, didn't the dev tell you what happens when you do that? Yeah, but okay, there it is. We're done talking. Did you go through the tutorials? You got the practice ring, but what about the skill drills? Did you do all of that too? Well, no, because I played the other UFC game. Exactly. So you need to go ahead and practice and understand how this game works. That's why you're getting served when you're playing the game, because you don't know what you're doing necessarily. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that the game has a learning curve, you don't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Maybe UFC should have came out with a tagline just saying, you about to lose a lot. You know what I'm saying? And dudes would have got it. Because just like Dark Souls, they said prepare to die. They weren't playing. People dying, you taking L's. So it's like, it has to be the premise. There has to be some kind of premise where you understand. It has to be promoted that this is football you're getting here. Now, you got your casual experience, i.e., here's your fair player, your one button mode kind of deal. You got that. But if you want to be a football guy and you really want to play some football, okay, well, we got you. Now you got to play. Now you got to actually do the work and learn that stuff. And this is why I'm saying I would love to see player movement be like how it is, at least, saying from within EA wheelhouse, so to speaking. I would love to see it be like Madden, or I would like to see a combination from other games or whatever. I mean, just thinking about it, what games they got on Frostbite, and if you just look at the movement paradigm, heck, I would even bring in Mass Effect. If you guys played Mass Effect Andromeda, that game was on Frostbite.
Yep.
The movement in that game ain't pretty bad either. So I would take from that even and say, like, make it take between multiple games or whatever. Put that thing together, add it in Madden, make that. I'm telling you, just changing player movement alone, people ain't gonna be able to hot route and all that. You saw what happened with Madden 25 on next gen. They couldn't do their tournaments the way they wanted to because the way that movement was done. I'm just saying, take it to a whole nother level and change the game up because you have to, man. Madden has to evolve. It has to actually evolve, and it's like this manner in which the game plays, these cards and stuff, these players and everything, you know, like I'm saying, Ultimate Team in these tournaments we watch, pretty much the main stage Madden is on, it's not being showcased on the best possible stage because of how it looks. I can look at the eLeague from NBA 2K and I can at least say, dang, you know what? I mean, it's not the, is it the best it could be yet? No, but I could see legitimate basketball on that screen. These guys got to legitimately strategize in order to win. They got to play they have to use basketball tactics to actually win. They just can't come up here and just play any old kind of way and expect to come away with a W. Madden, you can. Look at the tournament. You see how how these dudes are playing against each other. What NFL player are you gonna see perform a juke move like some of these guys do in the game? And honestly see that in the NFL and say, oh, snap, he got him. No. You're not gonna see a guy just stand still and a guy run around and all that. No, no. And that's what I'm saying. The whole mechanized part of the game is too mechanical. There's changes that have to be made up in the system. But like what Sim and I always say, Azure 2 and a lot of guys like yourself and others say in the chat here, make football. That's it. You make football the way football should be first, you ain't got to worry about the extras and all that stuff because football is took care of and secured. That's the way it should be. So,
you know, I want to talk about that though, because I'm not 100% convinced they did. I'm not 100% convinced that 2K is a lot more flawless than it looks when it's in full play. Because I was talking about, and I think I even heard you talk about this before, but I've played, well, at least I know I've talked to you about it before, at least through messages. But when you play Madden, I think it's anything before 17. 17 and 18, one of these two is when they started to take it off completely. Like 18, you can't do it. But like if you go and you test Madden at like a gameplay place, or you test it before you actually have a profile on it, it operates entirely different than it does once it gets your profile information in. You sign that information in order for it to store your data. When it starts to do that, the game operates on a completely different frequency. See, when you play these games before they have this information, which is, again, the DDA conversation, but not, you know, too much to dive into that. But I'm not convinced that when I played those games all the way up at least until 16, that when I played them off of my profile, they operated totally different. Some of those things that you asked for, you want in the game, you want them to behave like, they would behave like that until you signed in. And as soon as you sign in, it's like this information is transferred and operates entirely different. And it also happens when you first get the title. You get the title, and first couple of weeks it's all good, and the boom is playing totally different. And I think this happens before the first patch. You know, it just plays crazy. Like it stores data and it just isolates you in order to challenge you, but in unrealistic ways. So I'm not convinced that we aren't closer than it's replicating to us when we're playing it at this point. You know, I just think that with this dynamic changing going on, when you're experiencing these things on or offline, we seeing something different. You know, that's what I think it is. I mean, I don't really think that I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying all those things don't need to be added. I'm just saying I think it's better than what it looks like. I don't think these intelligent and very bright people they bring it in year to year aren't putting these things in this game. I think that the dynamic challenges that it wants you to experience isolates those things playing out. And that's causing a major issue. I think it's really clogging the visual drain, so to speak, that we should be able to see some of these things funnel out, and they don't. You know?
Yeah, man. I think we say this so many times. I mean, you know, and it's up to the individual how they want to feel, but we got to get off of this. People, they don't know what they're doing. Man, just listen. Guys like Clint played in the NFL, dude. He know. A-Dub, if you don't think he knows football, just go look at his tweets. how he breaks down all these plays that he's seeing in college. And I can guarantee you right now. Let me see how many people watching it. 54. I could guarantee you that at least 40 people in the stream would be lost having a conversation with him. It's guys, that's not the problem. It is not the problem. Even Rex played college ball. It's not the problem with them not knowing football. So let's kill that noise. But I wanted to comment on something Marquis said here in the chat. I'm glad you brought this up, and I'm glad that Clint kind of opened up to it in that podcast that he did with Muttman. They don't all know everything that actually happens. I was actually told one time, I think Smitty was there with me this time. I asked one of the engineers, what do these sliders do, man? And he literally said, man, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of this stuff was here before I got here. Yeah. Like, it's some stuff they literally don't know. Like what Clint said is the absolute truth. Okay, I'm going to have to find that out. Let me do some investigation, and I can tell you exactly what this does in relationship to that. Then I'll get back to you. And he's usually good with that. He does it publicly, but he's not blowing smoke. He literally doesn't know. He is a designer. He doesn't necessarily know all the ins and outs because, like Marquis said, it's been the same slider sets pretty much since the PS2. Well before a lot of these guys even got there. So it's now I will say the problem with that is what Rex has said to us. He's kind of fed it to us in the applesauce, man. If you pay attention, he said numerous times in the past, there's a lot of issues that we have to eventually tear down and rebuild, but at the same time, innovate. He's right. It's a lot of core stuff. He literally said this verbatim. It's a lot of stuff we got to rip out of the game. And that's not an overnight situation. Now, I'm not giving them an excuse. I'm just saying it's not an overnight thing. It might take a long time before they remember how me and Smitty used to always push that whole narrative. They need to change the ratings. They need to do like sports science and da-da-da-da-da. And that time we had Rex on the show, and even he was like, man, you know how long it would take to like that's like a 3-4 year commitment to rebuild how the game is rated. Now it could be stuff. Now I'm just speculating here. It could be stuff that they're working on behind the scenes to bring it into full, you know, and it'll come into like, you know, the DB and wideout stuff took like 2 years of post work before it finally showed up. But I'm just saying, we're not coders. None of us, well, some of you guys might be, but if you were a coder, you would understand. Like, you know, like our guy, Neff. Neff understands this kind of stuff. It's not easy, man. It's not as easy as some of us gamers would think. And me and Smitty are fortunate enough to see the back end and be like, wow, like, I never thought that could do this. Or you take this one little thing, turn it, and then it breaks something in CFM. Like, how does that even connect it? It's like, it's a lot of stuff that I would love to see them do. But the truth of the matter is, even with the traits and stuff like that, I think they need to continue down that route with us trying to get some differentiation, you know, as far as because that's what's built. Instead of them trying to go back to the weapons they had in Madden 08, because now you're trying to, you know, flip the script. I think they need to build from what they have. Mutt is right there. Take all of that stuff out of Mutt and throw it into regular CFM and configure it for a CFM. That's where you get the players' likeness and all. You can do it. There's tons of stuff in Mutt. But it's like my man said, man, I can promise, at least understand when we speak, we're talking from what we're hearing when we talk to these guys. And, truth be told, I don't know if it's corporate jargon or not. I don't know. But I trust guys like A-Dub and, you know, Scant and these guys that, you know, even Rex, guys that I have actual conversation with and have known for 6 years or so now. I don't think they're going to blow no smoke. It's just one of them things, man. But what I wanted to say is like Godspeed said, I think there is some interference that runs in the game too, because there's stuff that they implement. Matter of fact, I hate to bring it up. EA played last year. We saw a much better game.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, oh, we're getting pressure. Oh, we got to change something. And then they completely messed it up. We saw it in Madden 15 with the inaccurate passes. That last event that we was at, what was it, Smitty, like around August? We was told then, guys, it might not release like this. We already getting pressure from up top. Like the passes, they're a little too inaccurate. See, it's always something. I hope the last thing I'm gonna say on this, man, and then we can go on to the next thing if you guys want. I hope what Rex said is true. What he said on the which podcast was that? The last Muttman that he was on. That they're starting to get the guys, they're starting to get more people at the top believing into what they want to push. That's the only way things are going to change the way we want it. They got to draw.
That today, that's a big deal right there. That's big.
They got to draw that line in the sand, man. Like Kobe told us. Remember that, Smitty? Kobe, he used to work there, came from MLB The Show. He said that they literally did the same thing. That they had to come to a point where it was like, look, we got to make baseball, period. And once they put their foot in the ground, look at it now. Probably the best sports simulation game we got.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, guys, but where we at? 9:32.
Take a Madden break here. Move on to a new topic.
Yeah, man. Madden is I don't know, man. It's just a tough situation, guys, because we all such passionate football fans, man, and that we got to put a.
Actually, before we move on, I do want to address a comment that I read here from Spirit of Truth. He says, "Why people whine over Madden as the game is pathetic. Anyone that hype it needs to get paid or played, I guess is what he's trying to say." But see, that's the thing that I think is a misconception, a common misconception about when guys get together and talk about this. This is like, just guys hanging out, talk about something they invested in, man. It's a hobby, and we love the game. Ain't nobody sitting here trying to say, like, oh, we whining about it. I mean, it ain't my life. This is something we do. It's a hobby. Right. Like, we enjoy it, and we want to be a part of what makes the game better. Yeah. So if you have constructive criticism, you address it. That's why I'm here. I mean, this ain't something I do on a day-to-day, but I like these. I like what they got out, like what they putting out. These guys will be fundamental and very, important to the game changing. So that's why we together doing it, not because we really complaining. Because I really could care less. I ain't getting paid for the game. So you know what I mean. I don't really give a damn. You want to be honest? I mean, I don't want to get crazy on your channel, but I'm just saying. I'm not here to complain. I could go do something else real quick. But I'm just saying, in general, we enjoy it. It's a hobby, sports gaming. We grew up with it. I mean, our era is the reason why it's here today, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? So, that's why we're here, man. It's a part of who we are.
That's all it is, man. I mean, contrary to what a lot of people believe, I don't think about Madden when I get off of YouTube. That's why y'all don't see me on Twitter as much no more, because I couldn't deal with it, man. I couldn't deal with every day somebody Madden. I'm like, dog, I don't care about this game every day. It's a hobby, like my man said here. I do YouTube. I'm trying to be a YouTuber, in my part-time. That's it. Outside of that, I don't care. Like I always say, if Madden never gets to be the game that we want, my life goes on, man. I mean, all I can do is give my feedback. They either do it or they don't. But I got other games to play, and I got family to be with. And like I said, you think on that week of EA play, if I don't go, you think I'm going to be hurt? I'm going to be chilling. And Cabo, like,
real,
who cares about it? All of that. But if I can make it, I can make it. But it ain't that serious, guys. It's just like my man says, it's a hobby, just something to do. Now, man, let me throw this to y'all, man. And I actually come to you first, Godspeed, man. We appreciate you staying on with us.
For sure.
So, and listen, let me just be very clear when I say this. I don't mean to disrespect, but I just don't call that guy president. I just don't, because I don't agree with the way he's behaving in that position. Let's say that. I believe in that. POTUS? Yeah. I just don't
right now. Oh man, well, let's go.
I just don't do it because and I'm not gonna get into what I believe in, none of that. I just regardless of the party that he's in, I don't agree with the way the guy is conducting in that position. So that's why I just say Trump. I don't put that moniker in front of it, whatever. If you think that's disrespectful, I'm sorry. If you're offended, hey, I'm going to speak my mind. But let's talk about him as it relates to these video games. So for anybody who may have been under a rock. Another mass shooting. It happened in Florida. I believe it was Valentine's Day, I believe. Kids get killed in high school, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, it's this battle with the NRA and just craziness, man. Outside of the game stuff. Go read up on that yourself. But I saw today, and I think this article came out maybe a week or so ago, but I just saw it today, that Trump plans to meet with members in the game industry. They want to discuss the violence that's shown in video games. And basically, some of his comments here, let me see if I can find it, guys, and I'll read y'all some of the rhetoric that he posted here, which I find, again, I hate to put my 2 cents in there, but I find it very hypocritical, and he basically criticizing somebody else's behavior. But he says here, video games, movies, internet stuff is so violent. It's so incredible. He says, I see it. I get to see things that you would believe, you'd be amazed, or you wouldn't believe, you'd be amazed. I have a young, very young son who I look at, and some things he's watching, and I say, how is that possible? And this is what kids are watching. So basically, the meat of this this article here is he wants to discuss, I'm assuming, the possibility of perhaps removing violence out of video games. Like I said, I'm gonna throw it to Godspeed first, but just to give my quick small nugget here, I said this when the show started. I mean, me and Smitty, you know, we're guys, we're in our 30s. We grew up in an era where they tried to say the same thing about rap music, hip hop, video games. Yeah, all of this stuff that causes the violence. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. I feel like you're a weak individual if you play a video game or listen to whatever you're listening to and then you act that out. I'm sorry. I can't blame that on that. Now, you might be amped up. Don't get me wrong. I've been young and dumb, and I've been around young and dumb people. I told you, I have a friend who's doing 53 years plus life right now because of a stupid decision. But at the same time, I'm not going to blame Jay-Z for that, or Eazy-E, or Ice Cube, any of these guys. I'm not going to blame, you know, Hove did that. So hopefully you ain't got to go through that. See what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not going to blame that as being the reason why some of these guys do what they do, as well as I'm not going to blame Chirac on GTA. I'm sorry. But I'll throw it to you, Godspeed, man. What are your thoughts hearing that? Does it sound like what he's trying to do is, to me, I think it's deflection, by the way.
But it's a 100% deflection tactic, and it's constantly used by politicians. It's not innovative. It's not new. It's not even slick. Right. But you know, nothing's slick about what that guy does. But again, this isn't really the proper channel to dig on that, because my feelings towards the current administration right now could be, you know, I'm pretty strong and very well researched on what's going on with that. But as far as reverting it back to the video games and how society is impacted by the things we see, play, and listen to, it does. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. The music that you listen to, the environment in your culture, your specific culture, does have some impact. Right. Does it make you go to a school and shoot 17 innocent folks? I ain't heard one rap song make nobody from my hood or any hood that I ever been around do nothing like that. So there's a whole nother issue with that. And I think that our society right now is sick. I think we have a sick society on multiple facets. And I don't think that if you're going to isolate a gaming thing, you're going to be able to sustain it while still having violent films and still having violent music and still having violent environments and still being a country that's built on war. Everything we digest is war. War, competition, and profit. So if this person did that and none of those was the reasons why he decided to shoot, then there's a whole nother conversation going on. Because as far as I can tell, the last few shootings was political. These is very unsettled people getting information that's very distorted. You know, and that's what I was talking about last time I was on here, just even about the gaming. Sometimes you arguing over just about getting bad, you know, getting misinformation. You know, and so a lot of these kids, they're trying to find an identity, and they see that this is a very loud movement. If the movement was more positive, which is a direct reflection of the adults that are the parents of these children, this would be totally different. The parents have to step up. I'm a father. You know what I'm saying? I'm a father of 3. I know what my responsibility is, and I know how to prepare my kids. Right. And I know how to raise kids to be watchful of hate, but not be hateful themselves.
Right.
So this kid was troubled. Well, however you want to calculate it, however you want to look at it, most of the adults in America right now are extremely troubled. I mean, we're going through a ridiculous amount of, wealth and income equality. People are frustrated and angry, and they're looking for somebody to blame. That kid was just looking for somebody to blame for his dysfunction and the information he was getting. And I think we need to look at some of the outlets just putting out some very, very controversial type of information, man. And I think that's really what drove that kid. And especially when you have access to the internet and you can look up anything you want and isolate yourself to only one type of information source. So you can really feed yourself more of the stuff you already have as a preconceived notion. After a while of that, you are going to do something crazy, So I don't think video games or movies have anything to do with it, but I do believe that they can have an impact on, the movies and music do have an impact on who you are, and you got to watch what you put in your mind. That's for sure. You can become enlightened by it, or it can drag you down. But I don't think we can target games. I guarantee if you was to remove games as a whole and all we could play was Mario Kart, people still kill each other just in the same way if you don't address those other issues.
It's crazy, man. And real quick, before I throw it to you, Smitty, just to give one other piece of information. It's funny how the same guy who says that this might be video games is the same one who's in favor of not restricting the ability of a mentally, somebody with mental health having guns. To me, that's just crazy, because think about it. If I was, for lack of a better term, pissy drunk, would Smitty or my man Godspeed, either one of them, want to be standing next to me and I got a gun in my hand? For that moment, I got mental health problems. I'm out of my mind. You don't know what might happen. I might be like, hey, Smitty, pow. So, in my opinion, I'm not trying to exclude anybody, but someone who's got mental health problems, schizophrenia, bipolar, you might want to be a little more, be a little more strict, because, for no fault of their own, they might not know what they're doing. Voices in their head telling them to do stuff. It happens. I've seen these type of things. I've seen somebody personally that I thought was cool, stripped down, butt naked, and dancing and entertaining himself in front of a crowd of people at a club. And I'm like, yo, but he was on drugs. See what I'm saying? It's the cat I went to school with. I'm like, yo, what's wrong with him? He's bugged out. Would you want him to have a gun in his hand at that moment? No. So I just wanted to throw that in there. But what's your thoughts as a whole on this whole thing, Smitty, man? The video games did it. Smitty going next week. Smitty gonna go on Walmart and go crazy up in there with AK, because the video games did it. Smitty playing that Fortnite. He gonna go shoot everybody's house up. What's your thoughts, Smitty, man?
Nah, man. I think that it's like you guys basically said, y'all hit the nail on the head with it pretty much. Because I mean, yeah, people are always going to look for an out, to say like, oh, well, it's got to be the music. Oh, well, it's got to be this influence. It's got to be something. Now, can they play a part of the influence? Yeah, but it's not the end all be all reason as to why they do what they do. Oh, excuse me. Unless you were born and raised off of the music, meaning that's all you had, just music, and you had the wrong kind of music sending you, you had the wrong kind of music sending you those wrong kind of messages, and that's all you had, literally. You ain't had no mom, you ain't had no dad, you had no parental guidance, you had nobody guiding you at all whatsoever. That's all you had. Then it's like, okay, I see why you lean on that. And I mean, look, video games can have an influence, can have a negative influence, just like music and everything else. You got somebody that's already fueled up as is, they get that right kind of music, there it is. They have 5-alarm blaze. and they're gonna wild out off of that because now they're really triggered. You know what I'm saying? But all in all, though, you know, to try and just look at it in general and say, "Oh, the gaming, that's why he did that." Nah, I'm not in agreement with that at all. 1 second, not one bit. Like I said, could it play a role? Of course, many things could play a role. Hey, it doesn't take a video game for somebody to snap mentally. You know what I'm saying? It like you said, you had one of your people in the club, you know, doing what they did. He wasn't playing GTA. He wasn't playing Red Dead Redemption right before he decided to do what he did in the middle of the club. You know what I'm saying? That was his decision. Now, you said, you know, at that point in time, old boy was over, you know, he was under the influence. But see, that's the whole thing. You have people that you know, get involved in some messed up stuff, and that mindset gets altered, and they want to do some dumb stuff. They want to do some wild stuff that they normally would not do. So it's, once again, the biggest part about it that matters the most here is, yes, there needs to be some control on weaponry and everything in general. There definitely needs to have that. But at the same time, that falls on the parental guidance. Ultimately, just like Godspeed said, he has kids that he's responsible for. Sim has his. I have mine. Just like AZ has his. We have to be responsible. You know what I'm saying? We are responsible, not what we have to be. We are responsible for their upbringing. We are responsible for how they conduct themselves in society. You know what I'm saying? It all starts with what we say and do at home. That's what matters most. You know what I'm saying? And that's a huge key to it, because like what Godspeed said, is what you allow in. You know what I'm saying? What you allow in. And that's the thing. There are going to be external influences. Your children, even us as adults, there are things that we are going to meet. But it's from what you're taught. You see what I'm saying? From what you're taught in the first place is what's going to play a key role in terms of how you react to said situations outside. And not just say, you know what, even though my parents did what they did and they helped me out and they did this, they did that, they did all these things for me, skip it all. Like, now, if you're doing all that and you honestly are driven to that, or you show those kind of signs, yeah, it's time to get you some help. Like, once again, as a parent, you got to pounce on that. Don't just act like, oh, they just going through a phase. Let them be what they be. Their phase may include doing something crazy like that. You don't know. Don't try and act like it can't happen. You know, you can't be like, it can't happen to you. Mine would never do that. You never know. There may be some things that they won't say, that they won't tell you. So you got to be mindful of that. So, but that's pretty much all I got.
It can happen to anybody, man. Trust me, man. My homeboy, I can tell y'all, no murderer, man. It's just, hey, sometimes when you're in a certain life, you get caught in situations, you know, when I don't want to put it all out there, but when you're doing certain things, you get caught in certain situations where there's beef and somebody draws on you and it's you and three of them, and you got to let yours go because you in that life. But I can promise you, my man is not a killer. Seen him the next day after that. Look like you know when people say somebody looked like a spook?
Right.
Shook. Could not believe what had happened. And I'm looking at him like, bruh, it's over. Like, this ain't going away. You can't sleep this one off. Like, it's a wrap. Mm-hmm. People was there that knew you. Like, listen, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I told him, I said, yo, you gotta bounce, bro. Like, ghost. They don't stay here. You stay in the States, it's a wrap for you. And one thing led to another. And not to say that I condoned it, but I mean, if it was your brother, your sister, you're gonna try to help the best you can. I mean, I didn't condone what he did. He deserves to be in where he's at. But I was like, hey man, this ain't a game. But my point is saying all of that is he wasn't a killer. His mother, I'm sure, never thought that this was going to happen. She would be facing this. She'd be in a court hearing these charges brought up against. So But I can tell you 100% ain't no music did that. It's the life he chose, the environment. He chose to do what he did. Now, I will tell you, to bring some light back to the situation and pick us back up. What music did do for me, however, I was influenced. I wanted to be a player sometimes. I wanted to have a couple girlfriends when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't wait to go to Atlanta and see Magic City. It was like, oh, so this is what they talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I even lived there for a couple of years and it was like, okay, that's what it did for me. I knew better than to be, out there shooting people. So it's always choice. It's always a choice. So you cannot blame video games. Even though it was funny on which GTA was this, guys, when the dude said, even my wife, because I knew her at the time, she had to laugh when he was like, we got 31 flavors of titties.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't that in Dusk Till Dawn, the movie?
It was one of them, man. And hilarious. But at the end of the day, it's entertainment at the end of the day. Like, you can't blame music. You definitely can't blame music. But
even the music, right? I mean, before we move to the next topic, I mean, let's address that. The movies and the music come from two important things. One, music comes from an environment. There's a real, like, rap music in general comes from political people or people that don't have a political platform talking about what they see every day because there's nobody else talking about it.
Right.
Now, they're not educated politicians who know how to convey that music always in the best light, but that's where it comes from. They're trying to tell you, this is what I'm seeing every day. We don't hold the keys to that type of change or that type of power. I'm not going to say that makes an excuse for us to do drive-by shootings on each other here and there. That's a whole nother topic for another time. But not only that, there's a profit. Who's making these guns? Yeah. Who's making these movies?
Oh man,
who's owning these production companies and all this? If you want that stuff to change, how are they making millions and billions of dollars on those industries? That's the biggest question I think that needs to be addressed first. But as far as guns in general, I do think that we need to arm ourselves. I think it's very clear that we can't trust the people that we're supposed to be able to trust in our government. But I don't think that you should be running around with an assault rifle, because that's exactly what it is, an assault rifle. I could blow your brains out with a shotgun or a nice pistol. I don't need an assault rifle to do that. And if I got assault rifle problems, then there's a whole nother issue. You know what I mean? So that's a different thing.
Yeah, man. It's different stuff, guys. And we could even dedicate a show for real world stuff, man. Like I said, it's what you guys want to see. That's always good to talk it out, man, because I think one thing we can use video games as is look at all of the cool people that, think about it, that you've met via Twitter, YouTube, from gaming. All of you guys who follow us and vice versa, and we get to talk to you, some of you guys here, via Hangout or meet you at EA Play. Like, and we're all basically like, we cool. I can guarantee you that nobody in this chat, none of us would have beef if we saw each other, because we've developed this kind of bond through video games. See what I'm saying? Like, you need more of that. So I never mind talking about real world stuff. You never know. Maybe somebody needs to hear it. So
that's true.
That's about all we got for tonight, guys. There was one other thing I wanted to say, man. It slipped my mind. Can't remember, man. But it has something to do with. Oh, like Godspeed said, let's not act like you can't be semi-influenced by it. I mean, it's the same way when you play sports and you listen to a certain music, music to get hype, or it's certain music you listen to on your way to the club, or it. But at the end of the day, it's still your decision. You cannot blame the music. And like Godspeed said, which I definitely want to touch on real quick, where the music even came from for some of us, that was like, it was your way of life. Like, you ever hear a lot of us say such and such was like my soundtrack to life, certain artists, because we can relate to that. Like stuff like I did a Jay-Z line earlier, but some of y'all might not have never heard this one, but like on Black Gangster, when he said the cops is closing and I could do the time, but what's really on my mind ain't no holes in the pen. Like,
hey, that's a big deal. That's for real.
Y'all don't understand. Like, that's some real stuff. I mean, it might sound funny, but that's real. Like, where I come from, you know, if it weren't for the fact that when you was young and dumb running around in the street and you thought you was invincible, something as simple as like, yo, ain't no chicks in jail, bro. Like that, I'm gonna tell you right now, that saved a lot of people I know. Oh, yeah. I'm dead serious. Like, nah, bro, that ain't no place for me. And you would think it would have been the crime. You would think you would be like, so you willing to do 10 years for such and such and such? Until he realized, oh, wait a minute, you mean ain't no, what? No, I can't go there. Dudes change their lives. Like, some of that stuff was real. You know what I mean? Now you got your rap, dude. Like, let me be honest real quick while we got 4 minutes left in the show. Some of the stuff you listen to now, it's kind of like everybody's encouraging getting high and all that. You know, this is not cool. You know, this ain't this era of hip hop. And I'm not trying to point fingers at some of these dudes, but come on, whatever you do in your spare time is cool. But when we came up,
this ain't hip hop, bro.
Nah, man.
This ain't hip hop. Hip hop has elements, and they ain't there.
Yeah, man. Won't nobody in promoting lean, and you know that was like stuff that you knew about, but won't nobody telling you to do it, and Percocets and all this and Molly. Stop, man. Stop. It's not cool. Not cool. But whatever. That's for another show or another day on another podcast, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Before we roll out, man, Godspeed. We definitely appreciate you coming through, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, always, man. Any last words you want to throw out there before we wrap up?
And honestly, since we're on the topic, man, I just want to say, you know, inform yourself best, you know, the best way you can, and look through, you know, anybody who has heard this or who might hear this later, you know, because it's going to be on your channel. So anybody who listening to this, if you get information and it's only coming from one side, do yourself a favor and broaden your horizons.
Yeah.
You got to look at everybody's side, or you will become, you know, very similar to that, no matter what facet you're talking about, whether it's from the environment you in or whether it's political influence. So definitely, you know, keep an open mind, man, and stay focused.
Yes, sir. Smitty, what you got, man?
Well, basically, first of all, just want to thank Godspeed for coming through and hanging out here with us tonight like this. You know, also everybody being active in the chat and everything, like always. You guys are all appreciated. No doubt. But yeah, man, like I said, you know, this is some good stuff. Some deeper stuff to be talking about here tonight at the end here, but it's something we definitely need to jump in on. You know what I'm saying, and do again. And like what Sim says, you guys drive the narrative. So if there's things you want to talk about specifically, by all means, let us know.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, or let Sim know. So in that way, when it comes to putting the topics together, we already know what to pull from. If somebody wants to get on the show or what have you, same deal. Just do that. You know, let us know something. So, but that's all I got, man.
That's it, man. That's all we got. As y'all hear my dryer ringing off in the background there. Now here in the man cave, I got to share it with laundry, but it's all good. But that's it, man. And again, as of right now, I'm gonna try to keep you guys updated. If I'm not mistaken, Smitty is already planning to be at EA Play.
Oh yeah, so I'll be there.
If I'm not able to be there, I mean, come on, I'm there through Smitty either way. But my plans are, guys, if I can, I will try to make it happen to where, you know, you got to have a good woman to appreciate, you know, to allow you to do stuff like this. It's possible that I could just jet out from Mexico, go to LA, do EA Play, and then jet back home, you know, especially since she'll be able to fly back with my cousin and his wife and such and such. But it's a very good chance that I won't. So let's go with that expectation. I like to undersell and over deliver, if you will. Let's just go with the expectation that I will probably not be there, but it's a chance that I will be. I hope so, because, you know, obviously you guys look forward to that. But like I said, if I'm not there, Smitty's going to do the same. Whatever it is that I would be able to do, Smitty will do that. He'll come back with the report, and there you have it. But as far as next week, we don't have anything yet. I tell you, Smitty knows this. We literally don't have any topics until probably about 6 o'clock. Then I usually, or Smitty or Azure will come up with something. We put it together. But don't forget, guys, if y'all have topics, you can hit us up anytime up until Thursday. Let us know what you want to talk about. Drive the show. We want this to be your voice. Drive the show, and we always appreciate guys like Godspeed when they come on and, you know, just giving different perspectives, man, and dropping knowledge. You know, that's what we love. I crave that stuff. I'm one of those people. I'm a reader and things like that, so I crave knowledge and having real conversation, and then even with gaming, just having a different perspective on things. So that's it. Gotta go. Gotta get myself up early tomorrow to travel into DC for my 1 day a week. So I gotta go to bed. But appreciate everybody coming through. Had a great time. And again, last thing I will say, some of you guys put it in the chat, man. If you can do me a favor, if you can send me a tweet, let me give you the scenario once again on other ways that we can stream to YouTube, other methods outside of Google Hangout. OBS, for some reason, doesn't seem to want to function properly for me on the MacBook when it's me and Smitty. Works just fine when I do Terrible Towel live. You guys who've seen that, it works just fine. But for whatever reason, when I'm trying to capture the screen of Google Hangout and run it through OBS and have, you know, different layouts and things like that, it seems to drag, or the delayed camera, whatever. So if any of you guys have any suggestions, please tweet it to me. What I'm basically trying to do is have a format like a OBS or XSplit, something like that, which I believe is just PC. I think XSplit is something like that, where we could think about when Shop did the CFM roundtable thing. I want to be able to do stuff like that, have different backgrounds, and even if, you know, just get a little more, for lack of a better term, Smitty, want to get a little more fly with our podcast. You know, like if we have topics, I can hit a button and the text comes up and shows you what we're talking about, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Just to make it a little more connected and more professional, if you will. So we can take this thing somewhere else. So hit me up with that, guys, at SimFBallCritic, or if you want to shoot me an email at SimFBallCritic, well, it's Gmail, SimFBallCritic@gmail.com. So please, hopefully some of you guys have some suggestions. All right, I'm going for real this time, y'all. Y'all be real. We'll see y'all next week. Have a good weekend. Be safe, and stay informed. I'm going to end the show with that. Stay informed. It ain't just gamers, man. Stay informed with what's going on in the world. We all need to do that. All right, y'all be good. Peace.